In the early morning hours of February 19th, residents across Poland witnessed a terrifying sight as glowing debris from a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket streaked across the night sky before crashing to Earth. One piece of debris created a small crater in a farmer's field near the city of Poznan. This incident marked the third time in just 6 months that SpaceX had encountered a critical failure with its Falcon 9 upper stage. The rocket, which should have safely deorbited over the ocean, instead rained down debris over populated areas. This event raised serious questions about the reliability of what has long been considered one of the world's most dependable launch vehicles. After weeks of silence, SpaceX finally revealed the cause of the failure. A liquid oxygen, LOX, leaked during the coast phase of the February Starlink mission. While this may seem like a relatively small issue, it had major consequences. The leak caused higher than expected vehicle body rates, ultimately preventing the rocket from performing its planned deorbit burn. However, this explanation raises even more questions. Why is SpaceX struggling with repeated oxygen leaks? And is there a fundamental flaw in the Falcon 9 design that puts future missions, and potentially lives, at risk? Perhaps most importantly, what is being done to prevent this from happening again? The mission began like any other, a routine Falcon 9 launch from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California on February 1st. The rocket launched successfully, and everything appeared normal as the first stage separated and returned to Earth as planned. The second stage ignited on schedule, deploying 22 Starlink satellites into their designated orbits. Mission accomplished, or so it seemed. Typically, after deploying its payload, the Falcon 9 upper stage performs a crucial final act, a deorbit burn designed to send it safely into a remote area of the ocean, far away from populated areas. This is a standard procedure that SpaceX has executed hundreds of times without issue. However, something went wrong this time. Instead of conducting the deorbit burn, the upper stage remained in orbit for 18 days. It continued to circle the Earth, gradually losing altitude due to atmospheric drag, until the inevitable happened. In the early hours of February 19th, residents across Europe witnessed an unusual light show as a 4-ton rocket stage broke apart in the atmosphere. While most of the debris burned up during re-entry, some components that were designed to withstand extreme heat survived the journey to the ground. Among the debris that reached Earth were composite overwrap pressure vessels, specialized tanks used to store helium at pressures reaching 6,000 psi. One of these pressure vessels created a minor crater in a Polish farmer's field near Poznan. The farmer, understandably shocked by the unexpected space debris, told Polish television that he intended to seek compensation for the damage. Although the incident resulted in only minor property damage, the implications are far more serious. Had this uncontrolled re-entry occurred over a densely populated city rather than mostly rural areas, the consequences could have been catastrophic. Both SpaceX and the FAA are acutely aware of this risk, which is precisely why controlled deorbit procedures exist in the first place. After weeks of investigation, SpaceX finally disclosed the cause of the failure. A liquid oxygen leak developed during the coast phase of the Starlink mission, leading to higher-than-expected vehicle body rates and ultimately preventing the rocket from performing its planned deorbit burn. In simpler terms, liquid oxygen, LOX, leaked from the rocket systems, causing the stage to spin or tumble more than expected. As a result, a controlled deorbit burn became impossible. Instead of attempting the burn, SpaceX made a decision to passivate the upper stage, essentially venting propellant tanks and discharging batteries to remove sources of energy that could cause the stage to break up unpredictably. This decision, while preventing an immediate catastrophic breakup, meant the stage would eventually re-enter Earth's atmosphere in an uncontrolled manner. Alarmingly, this isn't the first time SpaceX has encountered this problem. In July 2023, another Falcon 9 upper stage experienced a similar liquid oxygen leak that prevented it from performing its planned burn. In that incident, a batch of Starlink satellites was deployed, but the stage quickly re-entered due to atmospheric drag caused by the failed burn. The technical details of that failure reveal concerning parallels. A liquid oxygen leak caused ice to build up on the upper stage Merlin engine, resulting in excessive cooling of engine components and a hard start during the second burn attempt. To understand the severity of these leaks, it's important to take a closer look at liquid oxygen itself. LOX is an extremely cold substance, chilled to minus 183 degrees Celsius, minus 297 degrees Fahrenheit. At these cryogenic temperatures, metal components contract and can become brittle, increasing the likelihood of leaks in seals, valves, or welded joints. The Falcon 9 propulsion system relies on an intricate network of pipes, valves, and tanks to handle the supercold oxidizer at high pressures. Any manufacturing imperfection, material degradation, or stress damage can potentially result in a leak. The harsh environment during launch only compounds these risks, as the rocket experiences intense vibrations and temperature fluctuations that can affect the integrity of fittings and connections throughout the LOX system. Even more concerning is the reactive nature of liquid oxygen itself. LOX significantly increases the flammability of materials it contacts, making substances that normally don't burn highly combustible in its presence. This makes any leak a serious safety concern. Throughout the history of spaceflight, oxygen system failures have contributed to several catastrophic accidents. While SpaceX has managed to avoid a disaster so far, these recurring leaks suggest a potentially systemic issue that requires urgent attention. This isn't the first time a Falcon 9 component has made an unexpected landing on a farm. In 2019, a pressure vessel from a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket stage landed on a farm in Washington state, creating a 4-inch dent in the ground. This incident closely mirrors a recent Polish case, with striking similarities. In both cases, composite overwrap pressure vessels designed to store helium at high pressure survived re-entry and reached the ground intact. Kyle Foreman, a spokesman for the Grant County Sheriff's Office, recalled the unusual situation. "Neither the property owner nor our sergeant are rocket scientists, of course," he said. "But judging from what had happened a few days prior, it looked to them like it was possibly debris from the Falcon 9 re-entry." The Sheriff's Office contacted SpaceX, which confirmed the debris was theirs and dispatched employees to retrieve it. "We didn't have a protocol for this," Foreman admitted, "so we just erred on the side of returning someone's property to them." While re-entries like this happen every couple of weeks, it's unusual for them to occur over densely populated areas, which is a small fraction of the Earth's surface. The recurring nature of these failures raises serious questions about SpaceX's quality control and the overall reliability of the Falcon 9 system. While the company claims to have implemented mitigations for future flights, they have not disclosed specific details about these improvements. Despite these concerning incidents, it's important to recognize the Falcon 9's remarkable overall track record. Since its debut in 2010, the rocket has completed over 450 successful missions, revolutionizing the aerospace industry with unprecedented achievements in reusability and cost reduction. A defining breakthrough came in December 2015 when a Falcon 9 first stage landed vertically after delivering a payload to orbit. Becoming the first orbital-class rocket to accomplish this feat, this achievement marked the beginning of a new era in spaceflight, dramatically reducing launch costs through booster reuse. Just this February, one of Falcon 9's first stages set an impressive new record by flying for the 26th time, showcasing the rocket's durability and efficiency. This remarkable reusability has significantly lowered the cost of access to space, enabling more frequent launches and expanding possibilities for scientific exploration, commercial spaceflight, and global connectivity. Beyond satellite deployments, Falcon 9 has played a critical role in human spaceflight, carrying astronauts to the International Space Station aboard the Crew Dragon spacecraft. In May 2020, the Demo 2 mission became the first crewed orbital flight by a private company, restoring America's human spaceflight capabilities after the retirement of the Space Shuttle in 2011. Despite the recent upper stage failures, SpaceX has maintained its aggressive launch tempo, continuing to deploy Starlink satellites and execute commercial missions at an unprecedented rate. The FAA has not yet announced any formal investigation or flight restrictions related to these incidents, suggesting they haven't deemed the failure severe enough to ground the Falcon 9 fleet. So, what exactly is SpaceX doing to address these recurring leaks? While the company hasn't provided specific technical details, aerospace engineers familiar with cryogenic systems suggest several potential solutions. These include enhanced quality control for seals and valves that handle liquid oxygen, improved thermal insulation to maintain consistent temperatures, redesigned plumbing to reduce stress points in the LOX system, more robust monitoring systems to detect potential leaks earlier, and alternative deorbit procedures that could work even with compromised systems. The challenge for SpaceX engineers lies in balancing reliability improvements with the company's rapid pace of innovation and launch cadence. Any major redesign would require extensive testing and could potentially delay dozens of planned missions. However, Allowing these failures to continue poses a significant risk, not only to property but to human lives. As SpaceX increasingly focuses on its next-generation Starship vehicle, some industry analysts have questioned whether the company is devoting enough resources to maintaining and improving the Falcon 9 system. With Starship promising to eventually replace both Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, there may be reluctance to invest heavily in major redesigns of legacy systems. These incidents also highlight the growing problem of space debris, with thousands of satellites and rocket stages in orbit. The risk of uncontrolled re-entries will only increase in the coming years. Proper deorbit procedures are essential not just for SpaceX, but for all launch providers operating in increasingly crowded orbital regions. Despite these concerning failures, it's worth noting that Falcon 9 remains one of the most reliable rockets in operation today. Even with 3 upper-stage failures in 6 months, its overall success rate exceeds 98%, better than most competing launch systems. However, maintaining this impressive record will require addressing the LOX leak issue definitively. For now, SpaceX continues to move forward, implementing whatever undisclosed mitigations they develop while maintaining their ambitious launch schedule. The true test will be whether these measures prove effective in preventing similar incidents in the future.